Welcome back to more Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Last time we defeated the sand-belching mirror slug, so this time we're moving on to the Twilight River. Captain, the signal we followed here is definitely coming from somewhere nearby. But is it Olimar? You know, I have a good feeling about this. A captain can always sniff out when another captain is nearby. That's sort of gross. Well, whatever helps us find our cosmic drive key. If nothing else, we can find more fruit here. For today, I want to take out 40 yellow Pikmin and 40 rock Pikmin for reasons that'll be obvious in a bit. Near this landing site, we should be able to find a unique enemy over here, the iridescent flint beetle from the previous games. Like before, we can't defeat it, but landing a direct hit will cause it to drop pellets and nectar. Moving along, we should also be able to spot something off in the distance. Look! There's an onion trapped in that web! Let's get over there and cut it free. That'll be our main objective for today, but it'll be a little bit easier said than done. We have to build another bridge across this river. Over here, we should have some new enemies, the dwarf orange bulborbs. Like before, they're not overly threatening, and they're not even bulborbs, they're actually bread bugs, once again. We also have some lily pads. Let's catch a ride with that lily pad. These are the central gimmick of the Twilight River, and they can be a little bit finicky actually. Sometimes when you hop on and off of them, you'll leave Pikmin behind, so be aware of that when trying to round up Pikmin, especially at the end of a day. Over here, we have an electric wall and some bridge pieces. We'll use the remaining Pikmin to explore a little bit more. Over here, we should have a puffy blowhog. This won't be optimal because the best way to fight these is to basically have Pikmin cling onto it and weigh it down enough that you can either swarm it in the older games or charge it in Pikmin 3. With rock Pikmin, we're basically only dealing direct damage, so this is definitely a little bit inefficient, but we're also still waiting for the wall and the bridge pieces anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. We also have a cave over there. The yellow Pikmin should be done with the wall by now, so we'll round them up and then check out that cave. We do need a lot of yellow Pikmin for this next step. We actually don't need 40, but we do need a considerable amount of yellow Pikmin in here. It sure is dark. I'd better be careful where I step. Alright, let's shine a light on this situation. And we have a path to even more bridge pieces. By the way, I don't think I mentioned it before, but that little electric sequence actually does flower all of the yellow Pikmin, which is actually really nice. Before we actually round up those bridge pieces, I also want to round up the bombs on top of this can, and I actually want to go back to the landing site. Over here is a stone wall, and I definitely want to destroy it, but we also have an enemy. This is a flighty Joustmite. As the name implies, it's a Joustmite, but once you deal enough damage, it will actually start to fly. Overall, it's not very dangerous still, but it can definitely catch you off guard if you're not expecting it. It can also easily pick off Pikmin if you have them carry bridge pieces and aren't rock Pikmin, which again, can't actually be eaten by those. We'll use the bombs on the wall, meaning we actually have a shortcut to the other side. Basically, if we go through this wall path, we can actually hop on the lily pad over here, and this will take us straight to where we need to go. Basically, when you get to the end of a path, you'll automatically drop off at the last possible point, and can't proceed any farther. So we saved a lot of time instead of going all the way around the long way. So we'll round up the rock Pikmin and go back inside the cave to start rounding up the next set of bridge pieces. There are 2 more sets to find, and we also will probably find a couple of fruits along the way. I think we'll have the yellow Pikmin work on this set, now that it's safe. The reason why I wasn't concerned before was, again, the rock Pikmin can't be harmed by the Joust Might, so it was fine for the rock Pikmin initially to carry them back, but since we'll have to pass through this area a few times, it just makes sense to clear out the enemy before proceeding. Alright, the next set should be behind where the electric wall was. We should also have some other enemies, so with all of our rock Pikmin, we'll see what we can find. I was trying to talk about this before in the Garden of Hope, but I got distracted by a cutscene. I was trying to talk about how yellow Wollywogs are some of the most indirectly nerfed enemies in the entire series, actually. In the first game, they're actually really scary. They can easily take out a lot of Pikmin with their attacks, but in every subsequent game, they've actually been kind of a joke. In Pikmin 2, you have purple Pikmin that completely trivialize every encounter with the yellow Wollywog. Conversely, in this game, you also have rock Pikmin that also can't be crushed, so yeah, in general, yellow Wollywogs have basically been a joke ever since Pikmin 2, which is kind of a bummer, considering they were a fairly intimidating enemy in the first game. But, to be honest, it's actually kind of nice not having to worry about them. They are having trouble latching onto that. I was really hoping they wouldn't run into the water, which thankfully they didn't. So we'll round up our Pikmin. The yellow Pikmin will probably go back inside the cave, unfortunately, which means we have a bit of a hike to get over there. The Pikmin will use the lily pads successfully. Like, when performing automated tasks, they will actually make it back to where they're trying to go, which is really nice. Again, sometimes the automation in the series, and even this game, can be a little bit spotty. It is a lot better than in the past games, which is good since you don't have a swarm, but again, I do miss that. Considering we do have camera control, I'm not sure if it's a worthy trade-off, to be honest, because I think part of me would actually prefer being able to swarm Pikmin and just using like Z targeting to move the camera. It might be a little bit less convenient, but because swarming was so vital in the older games, I do miss it a lot, but that's also partly just because I grew up with the GameCube games. Alright, we have all of our Pikmin back, or most of them at least. A few are over there, and some should also be by the landing site. We might as well wait since they're right here. Yeah, that should be all of them. The remaining 4 should be back by the landing site because they took the fruit back. So we'll gather everyone up and we'll move on. So the bridge should be done, meaning we have a straight shot to the onion, but we do have to be careful because it's fall, meaning we have to worry about more desiccated skitter leaves. This set isn't actually as bad because they're actually spaced apart really well, so it's very easy to pick them off without too much trouble. And we have arrived. Quick, save the onion! The onion we freed from the web spawned a new type of Pikmin, one with little wings. Look at its little wings. It's so cute. I've never seen a flying Pikmin before. And we have another new type of Pikmin to Pikmin 3, the winged Pikmin. As the name implies, they can actually fly, meaning they can actually carry things that other Pikmin types would have a lot more trouble carrying back. So for example, they can carry things over water, and they can even swarm or charge more effectively because for flying enemies, they can charge straight at them. The downside is they're actually a little bit weaker because of their tiny size, so they're not as effective at combat than the other types of Pikmin. So with these female sheer grubs, we'll have the rock Pikmin help out a little bit, but we also have to be careful that the rock Pikmin don't carry these back because we need as many winged Pikmin as possible. We also have these little vines that the pink, or the winged Pikmin can uproot. I guarantee I will call them pink Pikmin from time to time, just because you have yellow Pikmin and you have red, yellow, and blue Pikmin along with purple Pikmin and white Pikmin in 2, and in this game it changes from, like, color adjectives to, like, descriptions, like rock Pikmin. So it is a little bit confusing, honestly, again, as someone who started with the older games. We also have a data file, we can't forget this. To uproot this type of plant, all you have to do is tug on it. We also have a little branch over there that has some more of these little sprouts on them, so we'll actually need to raise a lot more Pikmin in order to actually move that, though. We actually do have enough at this point, but we'll save that for a little bit later. There's also a couple of fruits that are actually buried. We can actually see one right here based on the radar, which is actually really nice. In the Wii U version, obviously, you wouldn't have a mini-map, so to actually see things like the radar, you'd actually have to look down on the gamepad, which is honestly a lot less convenient. So in some ways, I do prefer Pikmin 3 Deluxe. In other ways, I do think there is still some merit to the original, because of things like being able to quickly access certain information, while in other cases, you have a little bit more inconvenience because of having to, like, pause the game every time. So we'll have, I guess, Alf and the other Pikmin carry this back, while we're trying to raise more of the winged Pikmin. There's a couple of pellets over here. We definitely need a lot. I'd like to have at least, like, 30 to 40 by the end of this day. By the way, one downside of winged Pikmin is if you're in the water, because they still can't swim, you actually can't throw them. You can only charge them if you're in water. So be aware of that. There aren't that many situations where that'll be a problem, but it is definitely worth mentioning just to be on the safe side when trying to actually, like, quickly attack enemies or avoid enemies, and you can't actually throw winged Pikmin in water. One of these vines should have nectar. To be honest, I don't have a lot of the winged Pikmin with me, so this might be a little bit of a waste. Actually, that has a spicy spray, which actually saves me a little bit of time. I actually need about 3 for this playthrough, or I'd like to have 3 for this playthrough, which means we're actually set for the rest of this playthrough. I'm not going to have to worry about finding any more, which is actually really nice. We have a couple of more fruits we can actually get, and I also want to take some time to round up some of the enemies, because to be honest, I keep forgetting that this version added the Piclopedia back from Pikmin 2, and in a lot of cases you actually have to carry enemies back for them to count. So for example, the Dwarf Orange Bulborbs, we actually do have to carry back. There's a couple enemies I've already messed up, by the way. For example, the Cannon Beetles, I didn't take either back, and to my knowledge, there's actually only one Cannon Beetle in this game, and it's actually back on that, like, sequence with the 3 captains in the distant, in the tropical wilds. So we'll actually have to fight that Cannon Beetle again whenever we go back there. We can also uproot that. Also, we need to take the Puffy Blowhog back, so really quickly, I'll try to make this cycle here. With winged Pikmin, it isn't as big of a deal, obviously, because they can fly, meaning if you miss a cycle, or if you barely make a cycle with the captains, at least the winged Pikmin will be able to catch up to you without too much trouble. It's mainly the other types that often get left behind when trying to, like, hop across the lily pads. Another downside of the winged Pikmin, obviously this isn't the best example because they're actually only leaf Pikmin at this point in that case, but for the most part, winged Pikmin are a little bit slower for carrying things because, again, they are a lot weaker than the other types. So even though they are very overpowered in some ways, they do have drawbacks that help to even things out a little bit. I'm guessing the other pink Pikmin, yeah, they're back at the landing site, so that's fine. With our remaining time, I want to quickly round up these Pikmin here, since the others are all the way back there. Actually, they're taking it back to the Onion. Again, it's a little bit inconvenient actually trying to raise Pikmin on the first day, because you have to go to wherever the Onion is. In this case, it's actually a ways off. We should barely have enough time for what I want to do. If not, well, actually, we need to move this out of the way with our winged Pikmin. Huh? Who could be calling us? SS Dolphin. And I can't get back to... Please, I need help. Anyone? Captain Olimar, help! I'm on top of a giant tree. Vicious creature. Please help before... It's back! So that's the Captain Olimar we've been searching for. When we finally meet him, we definitely have to thank him for leaving all those helpful data files for us. But first things first, he sounds like he's in trouble. Let's hurry and rescue him. Olimar's signal is coming from downstream. If you've played a Pikmin game before, you might be wondering a few things about this, and we'll definitely go over that in a bit. Also, there is definitely a reason why I didn't go over the Olimar's assignment content yet, because that would spoil this reveal. And with that, that basically takes care of everything I wanted to do, except I really wanted to also collect this fruit, but that's okay, it's actually on the way back from this other area that we'll be exploring tomorrow. So overall, that was a very productive first day in the Twilight River. One onion absorbed the other. It's fascinating how it just keeps evolving. And growing. New fruit, yay! We've managed to secure quite a bit of the fruit of this planet. But if we were going to save Kopai, we're going to need even more. We've worked hard today, and now it's time for our reward. Good, we still have plenty of juice left. So, we managed to raise over 50 winged Pikmin, which is actually great. It'll make things a lot easier for tomorrow. Looking at the replay, we're basically confined to this area here, but there's actually a lot more to the Tropical Wilds now that we've moved the branch that was blocking the lily pads from going downstream. So, we'll be able to explore this part of the Tropical Wilds tomorrow. We've made contact with the mysterious Captain Olimar. This is the Hokotation, who we believe has been providing us with the data memos. It looks like he is in danger though. If something happens to him, we may lose our cosmic drive key for good. Time to call in the Kopai Cavalry. That mysterious Hokutation finally contacted us directly, eh? He somehow got through the emergency channel in the copad. I'm not comfortable with this. Something here seems odd. We're stranded on an alien planet, Brittany. It's natural for things to be odd. Why, I remember once. Let's go get our cosmic drive key. Sorry, Captain, I didn't mean to interrupt. But perhaps we should see if this Hokutation has our key? If I could have finished my thought, I was about to say the exact same thing. Let's get this Olimar fellow. So, we're going to explore more of the Twilight River next time. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin 3 Deluxe.